Record. Press record. It's recording.
We're recording. All right. Hi, guys. This is Angel. We're here with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks. And today our speaker is Mike Farrell. And I actually became friends with Mike through Chad Molyneux Fitness. Mike was my coach, and he's a health and wellness coach. He's actually got his own program now. But first off, I would just like to say that if you have been considering getting a coach and you're just like, well, you know, I just want to get a better diet or I just want to work out more, there's a lot more to it than that. Your health and wellness coach is going to make sure you're sleeping enough, drinking enough water. They're going to make sure that yes, your diet is right. Yes, you've got your workouts in, but these guys help me out through so much more than just eating right and working out, because I still don't have those two things down. Yet I've been in a program for over a year because I needed, number one, accountability, and number two, kind of a sounding board, because your health isn't just about what you eat and how much you work out. It's about your mental capacity. It's about your mental fortitude. There's just more components to it. So I just implore you, if you've been thinking about it, talk to a health and fitness coach. I've really enjoyed having a virtual team to work with because it's amazing. I have a problem, I text. Our accountability calls are through Zoom, so it doesn't matter where I am. It's not a face-to-face issue. Wherever I am, I can just hop on Zoom, whether it's on my phone or on my laptop. It just opens up a whole different world. And so you basically have a lot more access to your coach than what you would have if it were a face-to-face coach. So Mike has an incredible story of how he got into fitness. And since I forgot to hit record before, if you're on the live, you're getting take two. And if you're on the YouTube channel, this is take one for you.
Hey, and first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I'm super excited to get to speak to your audience and also share my story and share my mindset stuff, right? Because as you're saying, you know, whether it's health or fitness, business, relationships, right? There are certain strategies in the health realm. It's nutrition and exercise, right? But it doesn't matter how much you do this stuff if your headspace isn't correct. If your headspace isn't in the right place, if your mindset isn't in the right place, doesn't matter what strategies you have, okay? Because they're not going to be efficient and stick. So as, you know, as the topic is today, positivity, gratitude, and self-confidence, how those three things create a winning combination. We're going to sit here and we're going to roll with this and just, you know, we're going to keep a positive mindset on that first take, right? We laugh about it. We keep going. There's bloopers that are going to happen with this. So take two, we're going to nail this one. So yeah, Angel, I would like to open up and just share my story a little bit and how I even got into health and fitness. That way your audience kind of understands why I have such a passion and how it's kind of evolved over time. Okay. So my health and fitness journey actually started 16 years ago, and it all started out of necessity. Okay. And about 3 weeks before my freshman year of high school, I had a spinal fusion surgery. That spinal fusion surgery ultimately led my body to being really weak, very fragile, and it continued to progress over the next year and a half. So before I go any further, I got to back up. I was a very active kid. I played sports all through Pee Wee leagues and stuff, and all through middle school. I was skateboarded. I rode motorcycles. I was very, very active as a very active young man. And this surgery was all brought on very rapidly. It was like the end of my 8th grade year. And one day I was sitting over the couch and my mom's like, "What's wrong with your back?" "What do you mean what's wrong with my back? Nothing's wrong with my back." And literally it almost seemed like overnight, my back went from being straight, normal back, nothing wrong with it, to a humpback. It was a noticeable curvature. So that whole summer between 8th grade and freshman year, I spent in and out of the doctors, different hospitals, different testings, all sorts of tests. And by the end of it, the doctor decided I need to have a spinal fusion surgery. So what they did is in my mid-back between the T9 and T10 vertebrae, they took that whole disc out, fused that together. So now I have one big bone instead of two. And ultimately they tested for a lot of things because they weren't sure what was going on with this. They tested for tuberculosis, cancer. Was it a viral, fungal, or bacterial infection? Long story short, they really don't know what happened. Their final conclusion was Sherman's kyphosis onset through puberty. So a genetic thing, basically that was triggered as puberty set on. So what that surgery did was left my body really frail, really weak, and the curvature kept getting worse and worse over that next year and a half. It got to the point where I was going to have a second, more invasive surgery where they put titanium rods on either side of your spine and manually straighten your bones. I had talked to several people at that point to know one back surgery was one too many, and that surgery was really going to alter the course of my life. The doctors after my surgery literally told me, Mike, you need to become a good student. Be studious, get good at reading books, okay? Because you're not going to be physically active anymore. Sports, not happening. Dirt bike, not happening. Skateboarding, definitely not happening. So all these things as a young teenager, they're taking away from me, telling me I'm not allowed to do. I didn't like that. I was a rebel child. I had some wild tendencies, and I really didn't like them telling me to do that. But what was I supposed to do? I wasn't even allowed to wear my backpack that first semester in high school. Maybe it was that whole year. I honestly don't remember. I know for sure it was that first semester. So fast forward about a year and a half later after that surgery, and the curvature kept getting worse and worse and worse. And the doctors, like I said, were going to make me do that second surgery, and I didn't want to have that surgery. So luckily, somewhere around this time, a doctor was like, look, Mike, if you don't want to have a second surgery, maybe you need to start weight training, and maybe you can strengthen your body and the muscles around your back enough so that you don't have to have that second surgery. Okay, I get to be physical again. I kind of already wanted to get into weightlifting class anyway. So I got the green light. Second semester, sophomore year of high school, I get in a weightlifting class. I got paired up with a couple of buddies who were actually hockey players who, for being teenagers, actually knew their way around the weight room. And it very, very quickly turned into a hobby, right? I was like, I really like this. My body feels really, really good. I get to be physical again. I know it's making my body stronger, right? Now, at this time, this was in 2005, actually, is when I started. 2006. This was before social media had a big dominating presence and everything. So I was flipping through the bodybuilding magazines, Men's Health, Men's Fitness, Flex Magazine, looking at all these big bodybuilders. I'm like, I want to be this. Why do I want to be this? Because to me, that portrayed confidence, that portrayed macho-ness or something. And I'm like, I like this, right? So this passion very, very quickly turned into, or hobby very quickly turned into a passion, which also sparked into the nutrition realm of things. Which then also sparked into my education and a career. So I've been very fortunate to be able to use health and fitness as hobby, career, education, and wait, I went out of order. Hobby, education, passion, career. Okay. But I want to, and we'll kind of dive into this a little bit. My perception of health and fitness at 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, to where I am at now is completely different. Okay, the things that I thought entailed health as a 21-year-old definitely were more on the unhealthy side of things. And that gets into the mindset, and we'll talk about that a little later on. So that is a little bit of my story. Now, I said this was a career, right? I was a personal trainer for 4.5 years. I taught group fitness classes for 3 of those years. I taught over 1,800 classes in that time. I don't need to teach any more classes, but what that did allow me, it did give me the opportunity to literally coach thousands of people. I've been on the online space now for about 2 years. And as you mentioned, yes, I was a head coach under another program, but I have branched out and developed my own program called Your Inner Badass Academy, which is tailored specifically for professional men. I know there's probably some ladies watching here, and I choose to work with men because that's what I resonate most with. But if you females on here, if you guys are interested, I can get you connected with my girlfriend. She's an awesome online health coach as well, but she only focuses on females. But this is for, like I said, professional men who need to regain control of their health, right? They need to do this to optimize their performance in life, which will translate into performance in business, ultimately creating a sustainable, long-lasting lifestyle. Okay, it's not a quick fix approach, and it's not a 30-day program, hi, bye, good luck, and go find something else to do for the next 30.
Well, and I just like to kind of interject too, for people that are on that 75 hard train. 75 hard doesn't say that you have to change your diet or change your workout plan. So if you find a really good health and fitness team, they're going to support you in your 75 hard. But if you're going to go crazy, they're going to let you know how unsustainable that is. So like for me, my 45 hard, my workouts are like, or my 75 hard are, I go and take a walk in the morning, and maybe I take a walk in the evening. I'm not out there, weightlifting for 45 minutes, maxing out the highest I can go, or, running full out for 30 minutes and then doing a 15-minute cool down. I'm not doing any of that because that's not sustainable.
We were talking about this before we got going, but yeah, it's good coaches are going to find a sustainable method for you, right? And some people need a little bit of a push at certain times, and maybe you need to be backed off a little bit at certain times throughout the program. But what we were talking about too is and I don't want to get, well, we're not here, the topic isn't to preach about programs or anything like that, but the all or nothing approach doesn't lead to long-term success. I've witnessed this hundreds of times in challenges that they used to do at the gym I was part of. And when you restrict people for so long and you tell them that you're going to work out 2 days a week, 100% effort, and no alcohol, no cheat meals, that doesn't create sustainability and balance. It puts you in a mode of a deprivation. And then by the end of it, day 76, what do? You've been starving for a darn donut for the last 2.5 months. Then instead of going and having one donut and creating balance, you go have the whole box of donuts. And then it's like, you just literally, you didn't learn sustainability. What we do like about that though is the habits that creates. And that kind of leads me back right into our topic. So today's topic again was all positivity, gratitude, and self-confidence, creating a winning combination. So I'm going to start off with gratitude. Gratitude is going to be your best friend, your biggest modality for success. Okay. And what I personally like to do is I express gratitude. I express gratitude multiple times throughout the day. I live in Maui, Hawaii. I am beyond blessed and grateful for where I live. But for most people, I always encourage my clients to wake up in the morning and within the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of waking up, get up, bust out your journal, or write down on just a piece of paper 3 things that you are grateful for. Okay, and why do I have clients do that? Is it primes your subconscious mind to be in a higher vibration throughout the day. Okay, most people wake up, they grab this thing right here, and what do? Instantly check their email, checks their text. Okay, they're already living in reactivity. Okay, so now they're priming that subconscious mind with anxious feelings of, oh no, I have to answer this person, or what's on social media, or who liked my post, or it's you're not taking a second to live in a higher vibrational state, I like to say. So expressing gratitude also sets you up to opening and being appreciative to what you have, but opening and receiving gratitude in your life. Okay, I'm a firm believer in what you put out to the world, you receive back in turn. Absolutely. And yeah. And, there's a lot of, at the time of this recording, this is, COVID pandemic, and now all these riots and a lot of tension in the world. Okay. And I don't even want to talk about that. That's not what this is about. But guys, there are some things that we, especially in America, we have a very great life. Okay. We have it very, very easy than a large majority of the population is. So simple things, guys, simple things of just waking up and expressing gratitude can be as simple as, I am so thankful for having clean running water. I am so thankful for safe shelter. I am so thankful to have food in my refrigerator. Okay, because those 3 very simple necessities, a large population of this world doesn't even have. They would beg to have what we have. They don't even have beds. Okay, I went to Nicaragua last year and I saw what they live in, and it was eye-opening. It was humbling, to say the least. Okay, so at the very end of the day, you can find little things to be grateful for. Okay, and I know in this turbulent time, those may not seem like much. Okay, but instead of focusing that attention on hate, anger, and what this country or our leader or whatever does or does not give us, okay, focus on the things that you do have, the things that you can be grateful for. So my 3 things that I wrote in my journal this morning, I'm just going to read them right out of my journal. As I said, my first thing is I woke up. Today, I'm grateful for waking up next to the beautiful love of my life. I am beyond grateful for Angelica and for our relationship and everything she has opened me up to. The second thing I wrote down was the opportunity to speak on Angel's webinar and spread love, positivity, and gratitude to more people. That was my second thing. I actually wrote 4 today. My third thing was my life, my great health, my strong, sexy body. I literally wrote that. And this is going to get into positivity when we get into there. Your language matters. Okay. And the last thing I put is I actually said the internet and how it has allowed me to spread my passion and also create a financial abundance from it. So guys, these change each day. Some days I put in here, I'm thankful for my dog. Some days I put in here, I'm thankful for this warm cup of coffee, right? But what I have done now, because I do this, like I said, within 10 to 15 minutes of waking up, is I have primed that subconscious mind to be open to receiving more gratitude in my life. Because when we give gratitude, we receive gratitude, we raise our vibration. this also radiates a positive energy. I get told all of the time, Mike, you're so positive. How are you so positive, so high energy? And this will start transitioning into positivity. It's a choice, right? It's a choice. I'm not positive 100% of the time. Nobody is. I'm not going to sit here and say I just live in this magical fantasy land where everything's so great and so perfect. I'm a human. I get angry too. I get upset at times. I get sad at times. I do go into negative mind spaces from time to time, but some actions and the backstops that I have put in place don't allow me to go down that rabbit hole for too long. And again, I'm not saying this happens every time. It does take a lot of practice, okay, and awareness around it. So I want to open this segment up with an acronym that I've created for myself. Okay, the acronym is TEAR, T-E-A-R. Okay, your thoughts become your emotions. Okay, those emotions create your actions, and your daily actions, those actually create your reality. Okay, T-E-A-R. Your thoughts create your emotions create your actions create your reality. Okay, and I choose to live a positive life. Like I said, I could wake up every morning and look at the situations in the world and be like, oh my gosh, my leader is garbage. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. My city's going to burn down. And then guess what? I'm living in this negative mind frame, right? Now, I choose to wake up every morning and like I said, start with gratitude and understand there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. But by me focusing on fear and by me not by me spending my energy on those sort of things, I'm bringing my vibration down. And I actually just listened to a podcast about an hour before you and I got on this. It's from Ed Milet, and it was about the how to stop negative self-talk or negative thoughts or something like that. And in this one, and this is where I said your language is going to be very, very powerful. Okay, the way you speak to yourself, the way you speak to others, or about your circumstances, really, really does play a big role on what you manifest in your life. Okay, and in this podcast, I can't remember the guest that was on it. Anyway, they were talking about your language being very powerful, right? So if you speak positive things, you're going to raise those vibrations. But some numbers that they gave through some studies that were done through some universities, I don't remember where, some universities in the US, it said that, I wrote the facts down, when we say things out loud, okay, when we turn our thoughts into language, right, it becomes 10 times more powerful than just thinking it. We can think positive thoughts all we want, right? But we need to verbalize those, because when they actually come out of our mouth, they become 10 times more reinforced, more powerful. Okay. Now this goes both ways. This goes for both negative and positive talk or language. Okay. What this study said is that negative thoughts are 4 to 7 times more powerful than those positive thoughts. Okay. So what that means is the more you talk negatively about yourself, your situation, your business, your relationship, whatever that may be, the more you talk about what you don't have, or the lack of, or the negativity of the situation, means that you're going to increase the likelihood of those things actually transpiring 40 to 70%. Okay,
well, I'll add in to that too. So in my situation that I was in prior to resigning in February, I was in just a horrible, negative, toxic environment. And as much as I said I wanted to be healthy and I wanted to commit to a program, I couldn't even do it because of like just the negative environment that I was in, because that was so powerful on me that I would drink more, or I wouldn't write something down in my diary because I was like, it doesn't matter anyway. And just that negative environment, it'll absolutely cloud your thoughts and take over your mind and your heart and your body and just everything you're doing.
I watched it because I was on those accountability calls with you, coaching you through that time, and you were not in a happy place, right? Your job was ultimately leading to your decline, your demise. It really was. The second you turned in that, or you parted ways or turned in the notice or whatever, it was like that 1 week later. Guess what? You got that idea for the summit. You started putting the summit together. Your energy, like a light switch, changed 100%. Literally in a matter of a week, it was like, not so good Angel to all of a sudden now positive, radiant, like a weight had been lifted, right?
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. And then we got you journaling, I think, right at that time, and also doing a little bit of meditation. So you can speak firsthand on what the positive language did for you. And then where was I going with that? Oh, and one more fact that was given on this podcast. Okay. But I can maybe after this find the link for it. But in these studies that they found that 83% of illness was exacerbated by negative thoughts. So the people that kept saying, oh, I feel so sick, I feel so terrible, or this cancer is going to kill me, I'm never going to get over this, they exacerbated those effects or their illness by 83%. Okay. Now, does that mean that if I have an illness that I talk positively about myself and put love and positive healing vibes around whatever may be going, that you're 83% more likely to reverse that? I don't know. They didn't give me that statistic. They were talking more about what the power of negative thoughts have. So reverting back to the positivity, like I said, look, it is a practice. Okay. It is something you got to be aware of too. And I want to give you guys a little tool. It's called the choose again method that I found from Gabrielle Bernstein. And when you're having negative thoughts or doubting yourself or, going down that rabbit hole of negativity, the first step in this practice, and again, you're not going to get it right the first time, and you're not going to get in the habit of every single time, but you got to create that awareness, is you have that negative thought come into your mind, right? And you found that you noticed the negative thought. Okay. The first step is recognizing the negative thought. Okay. I'm having this negative thought. I'm talking, I feel like crap today. Okay. Wait, I noticed that I just said that about myself. Okay. So the first thing is awareness, noticing it. The second thing is forgiving. She says, forgiving that thought. And I like to just say, this is not my thought. I do not think that I feel crappy today. Okay. This is a temporary thought. Third step is to release that thought. I'm letting that go right now. Those are not really my words. Okay. This is not how I believe about myself. And the fourth step to that is to choose again. I choose to feel good about myself in this moment. Okay. And where this came up for me the most powerfully was months ago, and it actually came about a financial situation. I would stress about money, and I really put this to practice when I would notice I'm stressing about finances. It was like, wait, time out, Mike. This is a temporary situation. Money is energy. It comes and goes. Okay. These are not how I feel about money, and these are not really my thoughts about money. This was just a temporary thought. I'm letting this go because this is not how I truly believe. I'm choosing to think again and understand that abundance is coming my way. And guess what? It's slowly. Well, no, I shouldn't say slowly. It started happening slowly and then picked up more and more. So I also believe in celebrating little wins, little victories, right? Because, oh yes, the law of attraction really works. Yeah. So the more that you celebrate little victories and little wins, the more that those start compounding and creating momentum that in turn creates bigger wins. Okay.
Absolutely.
So going back into the positivity thing, like whoever just wrote that the law of attraction really does work. And from the statistic that it shows, when you say something, okay, it's great to have the thoughts. Those are awesome, but you need to vocalize those. You need to verbalize those because they become 10 times more powerful when you speak them. Now, let's talk about the law of attraction, right? If you put out, like I said, if you put out positivity, if you put out gratitude, if you put out love, if you put out uplifting, encouraging vibes to the universe, guess what the universe is saying? Hey, Mike, I'm going to give those back to you. Hey, so-and-so, I'm going to give those back to you because that's what you are speaking this truth into the world. I'm going to manifest that into you, right? And I'm going to use you as an example here, right? For months, we would get on those calls, right? And you'd tell me of how the crappy things that were going on in your job and how much you didn't like a certain person in that job and the effects that was having, right? And then what kept happening? Then you were having other people come in to watch you more and more frequently, right? And you were having to meet with this person more and more frequently. So you were manifesting these negative things that you did not, maybe you weren't aware that you were actually doing it, but it was all coming from what you were saying, right? Or am I completely BSing?
No, I mean, I hadn't thought about it like that, but I mean, just like success begets success. I mean, I was speaking into being the things that I didn't want to happen.
Exactly. Yep. And in this podcast that I just listened to, they give an example of a baseball player that was in the World Series. I'm not much for baseball, but in the World Series, this team basically had it in the bag. There was like one batter left or something, and he hit a ground ball to first base, and this like all-star first baseman, like apparently almost Hall of Famer, missed the ball. And it went through his legs, and what happened is it allowed another runner to come in, score, and they ended up losing the World Series. All on that. And it wasn't known, and it says this in the interview, it wasn't known, but a few weeks prior to this or something, that first baseman was in an interview with a newspaper or something, and he goes, it's not that what did he say? It's not that I'm afraid of not winning. It's that I'm afraid of not catching the game-winning ball and losing because I did not catch this ball. So guess what he primed his subconscious mind to believe is that he is not going to catch that ball. What manifested a few weeks later? It may have been the batter or very last pitch of the game or something like that. He subconsciously manifested that weeks ago to not catch that ball. So it's like, again, this choose again method, when you start having those thoughts, and you're going to have these thoughts all of the time. So again, it's practice and awareness. But when you start thinking those thoughts of, let's give this situation of, oh, I'm afraid to not catch that game winning ball, time out. Let's choose again. Those are not my thoughts, right? I thought that was a temporary thought. I do not believe that thought. I'm sorry for that. I choose to think again. How awesome is it going to be to catch that game-winning ball, right? And this also, this goes into language too. You got to be very, very careful of how you speak to yourself or about things, right? Because it's like, if I were to say, okay, and this is an example, don't forget your keys today. Or don't forget your credit card today. What did you just say? You prime that mind, you put that word forget, okay? So I like to say things like, I will remember to grab my keys. I will remember to grab my wallet, something like that. See the difference between that? Let's reiterate. I forgot, don't forget your keys today. You primed forgot in the subconscious mind. If you say, I'll remember my keys today. Now you're telling your mind, hey, I got to remember to grab the keys. I will grab the keys. So that's just one example of the power of your language, right? And what you said, what you speak out, you will get back. So what do you want in life? Let's make this also, let's get people clear. You got to speak exactly what you want. Okay. For you guys, I'll sell more houses this year than last year. That's not powerful enough. If you sold 50 houses last year, I will sell 75 houses this year. If I'm going to invest a total of or let's use this, I will invest a total of $5 million in properties this year, or break it down quarterly, something like that. Now you've spoken it, right? You're manifesting that truth, but it's also giving you a target, right? So I want to give an example of when we moved to Hawaii, right? And it was all Angelica's doing. I was saying, I just want to have a nice house by the beach. That's going to be awesome, right? Well, Angelica was crystal clear on what she wanted. I want a house by the beach, a nice, modern, updated house by the beach with granite countertops, hardwood floors, and a cottage feel. If I could panorama to show you what is in our house right now, and exactly how close I am to the beach, my generic manifestation was very generic. Okay, Angelica wanted a cottage-style house with an open-air design, modern, new, nice, close to the beach with granite countertops. Everything that I just listed off is all around me right now. And it didn't just happen once. She didn't write it one time. She manifested this every single day, writing this down in her journal. So for this audience, and I'm going to use this, I'm going to invest $5 million in total property throughout the year. Then you need to write that down every day, and take it a step further is read what you wrote, vocalize that, because as we noted, it's 10 times more powerful if you if you vocalize it, right? Now, gratitude and positivity, right? Like I said, now I'll say this again. It's not that this just happens overnight and Mike, you live in a fantasy land, because guys, I'm human too. I get distracted lots of times. Okay. There's some mornings when I get in here, I'm like, what am I really grateful for? Nothing. Yesterday was just kind of a blah day, and it's like time out. That's when I write down, I'm thankful for the coffee. I'm thankful for the electricity. I'm thankful for the clean water, little things. Okay. Again, with the positivity and the acronym TIER. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a hell of a lot of practice and awareness. Okay, so I invite the listeners now, and today, let's start today or right now. When you start having a negative thought come in, let's practice and implement the think again method or choose again method. Okay, so recognize that thought. Oh, I'm having a bad thought, a fearful thought, a negative thought. Forgive that thought. That is not my thought. Okay, this is just a temporary thought, and then move to a new direction of, I am going to think this way instead.
Well, I've kind of got an example of that. Jason and I had been in an accident, and the car was being repaired by this guy here in town. Well, he called me and said, "Did you get your insurance money? Y'all need to come and pay for the vehicle." And I'm like, "What insurance money?" He's like, "What do you mean? Like, I don't know that we got a payment." And so then he got real defensive, and he gets on the phone with Jason. He says, "You need to bring all the money that you owe me in cash." And Jason is seriously upset, goes to the bank. He gets all the money. We've got the money. And we're driving to the place to go look at our vehicle. And Jason's upset. I'm upset. And then I'm like, wait a second. Somewhere along the way, there was a disconnect. And somebody is confused about what the story is. And so I'm kind of backing it up. I'm calling our insurance agency. I've got our insurance agent on the phone. We walk into the office and we just have a conversation about what's going on. And it was like, when we got done there, the guy that owned the shop like hugged my husband. He was like, "We need to have lunch sometime." Clearly this is before COVID. But we get in the car and my husband's like, "How did you do that? How did you turn that around?" And it was doing basically this choose again method of where I said, wait a second, what's going on here? You know, I didn't want to be upset anymore. I wanted to fix the problem. And so I wanted to look at it differently. So I think that's very similar to this method that you're talking about.
Yeah, and it can be applied to business situations, health situations, relationship situations, any situation. It's really multifaceted. But again, I can't stress enough, it doesn't happen overnight. You do have to practice. And more importantly, I think you need to practice being aware of the situation. Because it's really not that hard. It takes you max 20 or 30 seconds to go through this little exercise, but it's actually being aware and catching when those negative thoughts come in, right? So gratitude, positivity, all great things. But how do these actually bring in self-confidence, right? And it comes in, I'm going to keep reverting back to language, because at the end of the day, it really does come down to language. Now, self-confidence is brought on by many ways, but I think one of the strongest ways to bring more self-confidence is self-talk. How do you speak to yourself? Okay. Are you speaking negatively to yourself? Because as we've already stated, when you speak it becomes 10 times more powerful. When you speak negative thoughts, they become 4 to 7 times more powerful, and which means you're 40 to 70% more likely to manifest those things. I'm ugly. I'm overweight. I'm unhealthy. I can't sell a house to save my soul. Whatever it may be. Now you're just telling the universe that's how you feel, and that's what you want. Okay. Self-confidence is also brought on by the way you look, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but our human nature is to when we meet somebody, we within milliseconds, a visual appearance will show, can I trust this person? Do I need to be wary of this person? Okay. And it is very true. When you look good, you feel good. Okay. When you feel good, guess what? You show up more powerfully. You give this energy a new vibration that you didn't have when you don't feel good about yourself. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying you need to be 10% body fat and look like a fitness model. That's not at all what I'm saying. But your body, especially in the professional world, your body is a business card. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It is just human nature to instantly look at somebody and judge them. And it's again, it's a protective mechanism. Do I need to be weary of this person, or can I trust this person? It's a primitive instinct. Okay. So talk about yourself positively, talk about yourself highly, okay? And then hold yourself to higher standards. You got to follow through with high level actions, but taking control of your health, okay, is also going to eventually lead to you looking good, which then makes you feel better about yourselves, okay? What was oh shoot, I'm blinking. Self-talk, good looks. Where am I going with this? Yeah, it's a self-confidence. How you look at it. It was something about language. Anyway, okay, so it'll come back to me.
Well, while you think about that, I would just like to say too that even if you're looking at someone that's thin, but they're not taking care of themselves, like they're shaggy looking, they just, not like in a stylish way, but like they just look unkept. And then you have somebody that's maybe not as fit, but they look very well kept. You're going to feel stronger connection to the person that is well kept versus the person that is not as well kept.
Yeah, and let's expand on that. It doesn't always mean that the overweight person is a slob. No. You don't have to be a fitness model to look professional and to look well. I would way rather work with somebody who may be a little overweight, but is well put together than the slim guy that shows up with shaggy hair, unkept beard, shirt half untucked, messy car, things like that. Because how you do one thing, how you show up in one area of life is how you show up in all areas of your life. Okay. If you show up well put together, well presented, guarantee your house is probably well put together. Your bed is probably made in the morning. Your car is probably clean, right? Now again, we're not getting into all the, you may have kids and there's kid toys around or something like that. We're not talking about that. But self-confidence also, and I kind of touch on this also, by holding yourself to a higher standard, right? And it goes simple like that. Do you get up and wait and make the bed in the morning, right? Do you, there's a story I heard once. It talks about, by holding yourself to a higher standard, how you do one thing is how you do all things, right? Is if you get out, right? You wash your car, you wax your car, you spend 2 hours doing this. You put everything away, you put all that stuff away, you go back out and the sun's hitting just right and there's a big spot in the middle of the hood that you missed. Do you just say, that's okay, that's good enough, it's fine? Or do you drag all that stuff back out? Do you rewash that area? Do you re-wax that area because it's not right? It's not perfect. Right? Do you have that? Do you set that bar high for yourself, or do you allow yourself to just get by with it's good enough? I don't know. Those are questions to ask yourself, right? So showing up powerfully for yourself by holding yourself to a higher standard stems from the self-talk and taking control of your health. Okay. For me, and we're going to go back to teenage years, I always said that I wasn't like that I wasn't unconscious about my body, right? That I wasn't self-conscious about it. But the truth be told, I was. And it wasn't from my back, my back or anything. I was self-conscious because I didn't look like the bodybuilders that I thought I was going to look like in the magazines, right? So what that ultimately did in certain times is I as a teenager, I didn't have the self-confidence to go chase, shouldn't say date, but to date girls. I had 2 girlfriends growing up, and one was like 16, one was at 21, and then now Angelica. But that stemmed a lot of lack of self-confidence because I had this twisted perception that I needed to look like the bodybuilders or otherwise girls wouldn't like me, right? And that's also not healthy. So what I'm trying to say here is that your self-image does play a big role in how you feel, both positive and negative. So where am I going with all this? Self-confidence, again, isn't something that you pick up overnight, right? It is not, but it is implementing small strategies every single day over and over and over again until you finally kind of have your breakthrough moment, so to speak. And it may or may not be a light switch moment. It may be something that you kind of slowly emerge out of that shell on. And it's different for everybody. Some people start developing that within a couple months. Some people, it takes years, right? So again, it's how much work are you willing to put into it, right? So for me, how I kind of maybe want to wrap this in, again, positivity, gratitude, and self-confidence, guys, they don't happen overnight. Okay, they really, really don't. They do take a lot of practice and a lot of work, and sometimes it's going to force you to get uncomfortable. Because you've got to face some demons inside. You've got to face those uncomfortable truths that you've been piling away and hiding from and running away from for years and years and years that you don't want to. But those self-limiting beliefs, those things that you're failing to uncover are ultimately holding you back, right? And this goes, and I'll give it an example that happened about a month ago. Angelica and I got in a little argument on a Friday night, and it kind of rolled into Saturday, and she just blatantly called me to the table. She's like, Mike, you're unhappy. You're unhappy in this situation, this situation, this situation. And it kind of took me back because I hadn't thought about it, or maybe I chose not to think about it, right? I didn't want to believe it. And when she said that, it's like, wow, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. And I can't deny that. I can't hide from that. And I can't ignore it because ultimately, yes, you are. It is. And when I uncovered that truth, it was like, I have the ability to control my reality, right? So what did I do? I changed that situation. That was a Saturday. Monday, I changed the situation. I put in a notice, and which ultimately led me to leaving the other program, and finally raising my standards, setting my standards higher for myself, and starting and going and branching back out and doing my own thing But had she not said that, I may still have gone down this path, and I may not be here talking to you guys today, because I wouldn't have finally stepped up to the plate. I needed her to say that for me. And it wasn't even her doing it out of hate. It was all out of love. But when she said that, it was the truth I needed to hear. Mike, you're unhappy. Wow. You know what? You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And guess what? I had the power to change that. And again, in my circumstances, luckily I was able to change that very, very quickly. But not all circumstances are the same. It may take a couple of months, or like in your case, it took, a whole semester for you to be able to finally get out of that situation. But just like you experienced, within a week, like I said, within a week's time, I saw this whole different Angel that I didn't see before. And same with me. Literally what was going on in my situation after that notice, within actually the very next day, I noticed little things that I wasn't waking up with anxiety. I wasn't waking up with, oh, what text am I going to get? What, it just went away very quickly. So yeah, I don't know where to end, or exactly how to end this, and I don't want to keep circling back to things. So what input would you like? Do you have for me, or do you want to keep going with this one?
Well, I think that the reason why it's so hard to just find an endpoint is because, self-confidence is a journey.
It is.
You're gaining, and then you might lose a little bit, because I'm a pretty confident person. Like sometimes I'm almost like a turn off level of confidence. And at the beginning of this school year, I was confident in a lot of stuff, but when it came to my teaching, I had lost a lot of confidence in it. And I began to doubt my abilities. And I began to doubt, my capabilities to even learn new things. And it was hard. But when I finally made that choice that this isn't a good health choice for me, and I turned away from that and chose my health over the job, I started getting my confidence back.
Would you say that maybe that the you losing your confidence in teaching and your teaching abilities and skills was maybe kind of brought on by the unhappiness of the job situation?
I think it was the unhappiness. I think it was the constant reminder that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't doing enough, that I wasn't good enough. It was the environment, but that negativity just compounded and compounded and compounded. And then I'm sitting there saying, I wish, I don't want these people in my room all the time. And then I'm telling them, like, I'm speaking it into being, oh yes, they're going to be in your room all the time, stressing you out even more. And it was just like this self-fulfilling circular prophecy that really just chiseled away and broke down the confidence that I had. And it took the summit to make me realize, girl, you got a teacher's heart. You're good at this, and don't let anybody ever tell you anything different.
Yeah, you're ultimately a helper, right? We just uncovered this truth. And I know your story and your situation, and we don't need to go super in depth in it, but it really was, I could tell you were drained. Your passion for teaching wasn't there, and it was ultimately reflecting in your health, right? And I think I told you several times, or maybe, I don't know if I actually blatantly told you, but it's like, if you keep going down this road, Angel, you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to, and not overnight, but you're going to lead to some serious health problems that are ultimately going to probably lead to a demise health.
Well, and it took me winding up in the ER over it for me to actually see that.
Yeah. So one thing is, and I'll leave this here, is don't get to the point where you're that physically ill that you do end up in the emergency room. Okay. I don't know if your audience is predominantly male or female, and regardless, there's a lot of type A females out there. Sometimes you got to let the ego go. You got to drop the ego and reach out for help. And I always use this as an example: elite level athletes, Olympic athletes, high achieving people in the business world. Do you think Grant Cardone did all this on his own? He had a coach. He's had lots of coaches, lots of mentors. Tony Robbins, one of the greatest self-development coaches there is out there, highly successful businessman. He didn't create all that by himself. I use Tom Brady as an example. Not that I'm a Tom Brady fan or not a Tom Brady fan, but do you think Tom Brady got to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, won all those Super Bowl rings by himself? No, that dude has a throwing coach, a offensive line coach, a nutritionist, probably an arm rehab coach. He has multiple coaches. So if these high level people in the world in athletics or in business have mentors, coaches, or mastermind groups, don't think that you're going to get away with, understand that you need those. Understand that by letting go of the ego and asking for the help and being open to the help is only going to up level you and raise your standards, raise your vibrations.
And it cuts down on the learning curve.
Oh, tenfold. Nobody's a master in all areas in life, right? Like I know very little about real estate. So would I start going and buying houses on my own without getting, joining a group or something or having some sort of knowledge? Absolutely not. Where a lot of people, and this happens a lot, is they think that they can take control of their health and fitness by YouTubing everything. I'll just YouTube this and I'll figure it out. And well, where's that gotten you? Hasn't got you very far, right? And I'm not saying that there's not good information out there. There's a whole lot of misleading information out there, but you don't have the accountability and you don't have the expertise of a coach in that certain area. Like I'm not a business coach. I'm not out coaching people on business. That is not my realm of expertise. I'm a health coach, right? And I don't even like to say fitness coach because that's the back burner to this. It's right here. The mindset's the biggest part. So I have transpired into now health as a whole. It's your mental health. It's your physical health, your nutrition health. Yes, all of that. But how you incorporate all these things to create balance in life. So leaving your audience with a couple of tools is to start your day every day, wake up within the first 10 to 15 minutes, write 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. Okay, express that gratitude in life. I do it again at the night. I call it an end of day report. But the first thing on my end of day report is 3 things I was grateful for that day, 3 wins that I had for that day, and 3 ways I could have gotten better that day or could have improved that day. As far as positivity, remember TEAR, your thoughts, they are very powerful. They become your emotions. Your emotions translate into actions, and actions over time create your reality, okay? Self-confidence comes from that self-talk, okay? That positive self-talk. Remember, what we speak to ourselves, when we verbalize it, becomes 10 times more powerful. And those negative thoughts, right, are 40 to 70% more. When you speak negative thoughts, they are 40 to 70% more likely to actually manifest into reality. And again, 83% of illnesses are exacerbated by negative thoughts. So get rid of the negative self-talk, okay? If you guys are, any of your audience is like, wow, Mike, this is resonating with me. I love what you have to say. I really need to take control of my health. My health is a limiting factor in my self-confidence. And it's probably also limiting me in my business, that I don't have the energy as it comes later in the afternoon for those afternoon or evening showings. Or by the time I get home from all of this, I don't have any energy to spend and show up powerfully for my kids, my family, my children. So maybe we can drop a link, or I can send you a link, Angel, to apply to work with me. We'll get on a call. I'll talk to you about the program a little bit and see if I'm even a good fit for you. If you're a female listener, I love females. I love women. I grew up in a female dominant household, but my girlfriend will be the coach for you on that one. So if any listeners do have interest, maybe we can drop some links when we post this, go about there. How would you like to do that, Angel?
We can put it on the event page, or when you can go back into the room and add it under the live. We can put it here in the chat because I believe the chat shows up on the YouTube video, but I might be mistaken. But I can get my husband to add it in under the title or something.
Okay, well, let's see. I can pull this up very, very quickly. Here, let me find this link quickly.
And honestly, I'm one of those people that I believe everything happens for a reason. And I absolutely believe there was a reason why you were put in my life. Because you helped me through some major crap. And you weren't judgy, and you didn't say things to me like, Angel, you need to stop drinking. I mean, you would say it, but it wasn't like in that very judgmental kind of way. And it was just, I mean, you're probably one of the reasons why I'm even here today.
Well, that actually just gave me chills. Damn, thank you for saying that. But again, I'm not here to sell myself on being a good coach. It's just after working with literally thousands of people, you got to understand and see things from their side of the view, right? Me sitting here saying, Angel, don't drink, da, 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 da. You're going to drink. So for me saying that, it's just wasting my breath. It's how much are you drinking in within moderation, but there's something else going on, right? You're not drinking just because to drink, right? There's something deep seated that is going on. We need to uncover those truths, right? And you do need to be patient with some people, but you also have to give the right amount of oomph, right? And, you know, I can't, and some people respond well. It's situational, but I'm glad that I was there in your, maybe I don't want to say darkest time, but a very challenging time in your life, right? I am excited that my tools, my strategies, what I helped you work through actually worked for you, right? And you know, that was a pretty scary situation when you were in the hospital, right? That was really, really a scary situation. And you know what? We kept working through that and got you past it. And look at where you are here. Yeah. You're doing the summit. You're doing things like this. You're making a big impact. When you did the burpee challenge, look at how many other women or family members or people you got doing the darn burpee challenge with you. And I do also believe everything happens for a reason. There was a reason that I was your coach in the other program. There was a reason that you invited me on to speak to your audience and to speak onto this show. There was a reason I got to share this message today. And it may not be a crystal clear answer. It may show up later somewhere else in life, but everything does happen for a reason. So I thank you so very much for taking this time out of your busy schedule to allow me to speak to your community. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives and schedule to listen to me talk, hear my story, and like I said, my message resonates with the right people. But the people that needed to hear this, it'll resonate with those people. So before Angelica, what is it? Baby, what's your website? Angelica Ventris Fitness?
No, AngelicaVentris.com.
Oh, AngelicaVentris.com.
But they can send me a Facebook message.
.com. Here I have for the females. Here, let's do this for the ladies in the group.
You know, you can't just plug yourself. You got to plug her too, or.
Well, like I said, it's not that I don't love women or don't love females, but it's just I'm manifesting a more masculine side, a masculine energy to myself.
Oh, that's cool. Hi.
So yeah. So what do you want to leave off on, friend? I think that's all I've got for your audience today.
I just thank you for sharing your story, and for talking to us about, you know, about the gratitude piece of it, and just the positivity and the speaking things into being and the power of words and just everything you shared, because I feel like there's so many people out there that they get down and it's like just a downward spiral and they don't know how to get out of it. And so I feel like you, and I feel like I call y'all health and wellness coaches. I just feel like y'all's job is so much more than just diet and working out. And because I have personal experience with it being way more than that. And so I just reach out to people and I put it out there for people. Just, if you're thinking about it, reach out to somebody, do a discovery call, just to see if you even fit, or if the pieces of their program work with what you're wanting to do or what you're wanting to accomplish. Because just like people say, you need to get a therapist, you need to get a health and wellness coach too, because you may think you're doing really well with that piece of your life, but it wouldn't hurt to have somebody else at least take a look.
And also chances are, if you are listening to this, you believe in coaching. You're in programs or have been part of multiple programs. So if you used a business coach and you've had great success in that, why wouldn't you want to at least be open to trying a health coach, right? If you are really at the point where you're ready to make a change in your health, then get the expertise, get that help from somebody that specializes in that area. Don't go to YouTube, don't go to Google, because at the end of the day, and if you have been doing that, your results thus far show your strategy or lack of strategy thereof.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to, like, if you want to level up in business, you get a coach. You want to level up in health and wellness, get a coach.
Get a coach. Do you want to level up your relationship? you get a relationship coach, or you go to a therapist. I also joke a lot is when I was in college, if I would have known exactly what I was going to deal with in the world, I would have taken way more psychology courses. I would have got a minor in psychology. When we were personal trainers, Angelica and I would kind of joke a little bit. We're like, man, we need to be charging $300 an hour for our sessions, $100 for the personal training, and $200 for the therapy session I just gave. That was just a little joke between us. It is great to see everybody's situation, right? And that's where what works for one person may not work for the other person. So that's where you need to feel them out and actually see what works, what doesn't work. But you also got to give some tough love. I was talking to a client last night. He wasn't doing a few things, and it's like he tried to tell me, Mike, I'm just so busy, this and this and that. And I was like, look, man, we're always going to be busy. Those things are always going to happen. But my job as a coach is to call you to the table and tell you when you're falling short. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just simply stating the facts that you're not holding your end of the deal up. It really doesn't take that much time to do what I'm asking you to do. And therefore, the results are going to show. So let's look at the calendar. Let's really see what's going on. And he texted me back, and the conversation was a little more drawn out than that. But his text was, Mike, thank you for the tough love. I needed to hear that. I needed you to tell me that. And he goes, you know what? I just did what you asked me, and I'm going for a run right now. So you got to put, and just like Angelica did a month ago, she called me to the table. She told me, Mike, you're unhappy. Dang, yeah, you're right. So with that being said, my friends, I hope you guys have a beautiful, positive day full of gratitude, self-confidence, self-love, and overall just high positive energy.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope that everybody got what they needed out of this. So until next week, we will say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, guys.